Hello, dear friend. Jen here. Today, I'm pulling back the curtain on something profoundly personal, and I wanted to let you in on it. Picture a kit, a very special curation that has tools potent enough to turn your dreams into reality. Now, imagine if these tools weren't just random selections, but they were the very tools that I've personally used and leaned on to manifest my deepest desires. Yes, I have pulled together all of the tools that I use to manifest and create, and I put them together, and I call it the Creation Kit. And I'm so excited to share the Creation Kit with you. Inside the Creation Kit, you're going to get my Wonder Walks Spotify playlist, so you can take Wonder Walks just like me with the exact same sounds and music in the background. The celebration visualization meditation that I use daily in order to get me super clear on the feelings that I want to manifest and help me tap into those feelings on a daily basis. You're going to get journal prompts that you can use every single day, affirmations that have changed my life. They've been my daily mantras, and a customizable gratitude list that you can use every morning to help you tap into gratitude, especially for things that haven't necessarily happened, so you can start to manifest them into your life. And last but not least, I'm going to give you a special ChatGPT prompt that actually helps you with manifesting and creating whatever it is that you want. Curious? Intrigued? Do you want the Creation Kit? Well, you are in luck because it's yours for free. All you have to do is pre-order my upcoming book, Be Seen, and enter your order confirmation number into beseenbook.com, and you will get my Creation Kit in your inbox for free. I don't know what you're waiting for, but go ahead, pre-order Be Seen, and go grab your Creation Kit and start your manifestation journey today. You'll be happy you did. Now, on to the podcast. The secret and the key to getting everything that you want is helping people get what they want. It's not figuring out what you need help with and trying to pitch people your idea and get people to help you. That's not what it's about. I've done this for a really, really long time, and I found that the secret is always creating as much value as you possibly can.
What if today was the day that you dared yourself to do what you've always wanted? Welcome to the I Dare You podcast. I'm your host, Jen Gottlieb, and together we're going to step outside of our comfort zones and into our best lives, one dare at a time. So come on, I dare you to dive right on in.
Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the I Dare You podcast. It's Jen. I'm so happy to be home. Yesterday, I just got back from Salt Lake City, Utah, where I spoke in front of the biggest audience I've ever spoken in front of before. 7,000 people at an arena, literally the Mavericks arena where the Mavericks play. And it was a full arena. And it was so crazy. I'm still kind of floating from this experience and really just trying to sit in it and trying to receive it as much as possible. But I was standing on that stage looking out at that crowd, and it was so a moment of a visualization that I had meeting my reality. It really was. And every time I have a moment like that, I really try to soak it in and be in it and fully receive it, or maybe not fully, but receive it as much as I possibly can to remind myself that it works. That not just visualization works, because yes, I visualized myself standing in front of that many people in an arena with the lights and with the whole vibe, and I saw it in my mind's eye. But that wasn't what brought that moment to me. And when I think back of all of the things that brought that moment into my actual reality and turned it from like a daydream or a visualization into a real life experience, was a combination of stuff. And I want to share with you what that combination of stuff was, because I've gotten so many messages after I posted about it just yesterday and shared the pictures and shared, wow, this was something that I only saw in my mind only a few years ago, and now it's my reality. And people have been messaging me and DMing me like, Jen, how did you make that happen? How do you get on stages like that? And I wish there was like a one tip that I could give you. Like, one, here it is. You want to turn your dreams into reality. You want to speak on major stages. You want to be seen on that huge platform. This is what you need to do. But that would not be true. And that would be a lie to say that there is one quick fix or one quick tip or quick hack that you can do to get there. But if I do connect the dots looking backwards, and I think back to all of the things that led me to that moment, and that I believe will consistently lead me to more moments like that, it all really boils down to a few things. And it all starts with people. Like if I could go back to every opportunity I've ever gotten, it all kind of started with a person or a connection or relationships that I garnered and I built over time. And relationships are always made in rooms. And if I trace it all the way back to the very, very beginning, when I first started my entrepreneurial journey, opportunities first started happening for me when I got my butt into a room. And when I say a room, it wasn't just like a random room. You're like, Jen, okay, you stepped in, we're always in rooms. No, into a room full of people that were like-minded people that had access to opportunities. And it was a room that was more difficult to get into. And when I say more difficult to get into, like the very first event that I went to, I had to get on an airplane and I had to fly there. And I had to buy a ticket and I had to invest money and time. And I had to be a little uncomfortable and I had to go by myself and I had to do a lot of things that were really outside of my comfort zone to get myself to that first event. I will never forget the day that I made that decision. I was stuck in my business. I remember I was walking around New York City and like things were okay, but nothing was really moving. I wasn't getting a lot of momentum and I was feeling like there was something so much more for me, but I was disconnected. I was lonely. I was in this entrepreneurship world all by myself and I wasn't moving forward. And I was just like listening to all these podcasts and in my own vortex of podcasts and books and personal development, but not really actually connecting with people. And I was listening to this one podcast and the person on the person whose podcast it was, the host, he was like, I'll tell you who it was Lewis Howes. Summit of Greatness was his event. His podcast is the School of Greatness. I'll never forget. He was like, I'm doing my very first event in Columbus, Ohio. Click the link in the show notes to get your ticket and be there. And immediately I just knew. I knew I needed to be in that room. But then, of course, fear stepped in and was like, oh, you can't go to that. That's expensive. You can't get on an airplane and fly there and stay at a hotel all by yourself and go to an event by yourself. Like, that's ridiculous. That's so stupid. Oh my gosh, you're not good enough to be in that room full of people. What would you even do? And all of the bullshit that fear likes to come in and say, it was saying to me. But I believed a little bit more than my fear was loud. Meaning that like, you don't have to believe 100%. You don't have to 100% believe that you're worthy of anything. Because I've never gotten to that point where I was 100% in belief, but I believed a little bit more than I didn't. And I believed a little bit more than the volume level of my fear. And I was able to say, okay, shut up, fear, I'm doing this. And I just clicked and I clicked and I took out my credit card and I just did it because I felt like that was the strongest my intuition had ever been in my life. I just had to get there. And I got there. And getting to that event was basically the thing that turned on the faucet because I started to meet people. I started to meet people that were like-minded to me, that were doing the things that I wanted to do, that knew the people that I wanted to know. I started to talk to them on a regular basis. I started to plan my future and my dreams with them. We supported each other. It was like this wild new world that I was in that I never even knew existed because previously I existed in a world where everybody was just like competing with each other. And this was a world where people were actually supportive of one another and wanted to help each other. And I started getting on podcasts with people that I met at the event, like being a guest on podcasts and building out my first ebook and creating my first coaching program and all of these things that I would have never known how to do if it wasn't for the support of these new friends that I made at that event. I also saw speakers for the first time in my life and saw what motivational speaking was. I never knew what that was either. And that kickstarted a whole desire for me that I had no idea I even could be good at or wanted to do or even knew existed. And this one event set me on a path that opened up doors for me to go to different events and be in masterminds and start to launch different things in my business that started to increase my income so that I could get myself to be part of more groups and more things and more people. And that, I'm not going to take you down the whole journey, but that spiraled into meeting the types of people that got me on stages like the one I just spoke at last weekend. It was all about people and not just about meeting people and figuring out what I could get from people, but putting in years of effort and time into providing value to others. The secret and the key to getting everything that you want is helping people get what they want. It's not figuring out what you need help with and trying to pitch people your idea and get people to help you. That's not what it's about. I've done this for a really, really long time. And I found that the secret is always creating as much value as you possibly can. because the law of reciprocity is so strong. When you help people, not only do you feel amazing for providing value to those people and helping them and showing up for them and being there for them, and that makes you feel so amazing, but it also helps them to be like, wow, that was so kind. That was so nice. Thank you for helping me. What can I do for you? And that is how you create a win-win relationship. And opportunities come from win-win relationships. And what a beautiful world it is when people are just trying to figure out how they can help each other. Somebody else getting amazing results in their business takes absolutely nothing away from you, even if you do the exact same thing. And I've learned that. That was a huge lesson that I had to learn after being an actress for so long, where I had this mindset of, oh my gosh, if somebody else gets the part that I want, that means that there's less parts for me and I've got to take that person down. Right? And many people are in that frame of mind, that scarcity mindset, where if somebody else gets an opportunity, it means that there's less for you. But that's completely the opposite. Because I've found in my entrepreneurial journey that the more that I lift up other women, especially that are doing things that are similar to me, and the more that I give them a platform, and the more that I help them, and the more that I support them, and the more that I provide value to them in whatever way that I can, the more they're going to want to do that for me. And the more the entire industry up levels. And the more that we both rise, and like the rising tide lifts all ships, right? That's how it works. You want to get on big stages, big platforms. You want to be seen. You want to create a community. You want to create a life beyond your wildest dreams. And you want to take those dreams that you only dream in your mind and turn them into your reality where you're physically actually experiencing them. I could tell you a hell of a lot of tips, but if you really boil it down, it isn't one thing, but it is the sum of what happens when you get yourself in the room. When you start showing up, providing value for people, making relationships. I hate to say the word, but networking in a way that's powerful. And in my book, Be Seen, which I hope you all have already pre-ordered, I have an entire section on networking. It's becoming a networking ninja. And I hate the word networking, but it's unbelievably important to make powerful connections and relationships. And you've got to use networking skills in order to do that. And for introverts, I want you to listen up to, because that chapter of the book is written for introverts specifically, because I am one. And you don't have to be an extrovert to be amazing at making powerful relationships. And you don't have to be an extrovert to be amazing at making opportunities happen through the power of connection with people. So that's it for today. I wanted to come in and give you that, because that was the biggest takeaway that I got from that experience of really connecting the dream to the reality. And I don't believe it was from the visualizing and the seeing it. Yes, I believed in myself and I believed I could make it happen because I visualized it so many times, so that when the opportunity came my way, I was able to step into it with more worthiness and less fear. But it really, really was from getting in rooms, going to events, meeting people, building relationships, and not just going to one event, and not just making one relationship, and not just providing value one time, but doing it consistently for years and years and years. And this is what happens when you do that and you focus on people and showing up. I love you. Thank you so much. Your dare of the day on the I Dare You podcast is to go and provide one piece of value for one person. Do something for someone, and don't ask them what they need help with, because that gives them a homework assignment. I want you to figure out what somebody needs help with on your own, get creative, figure out what you can do to help someone, and I want you to go provide that value to that person. And I'm not going to promise you that you're going to immediately get the law of reciprocity right on back from that person. It doesn't necessarily have to come from that person. It doesn't necessarily come right away, but you will be putting more investments into that bank of your future every single time you provide value to somebody. I promise you, I believe in karma, and it'll come back, maybe not from that person, but from some experience and something in some person at some time in the future. But you got to keep showing up. Go take that dare. I dare you. Thank you so much for listening. I will see you next time on the I Dare You podcast. Be sure to share this with somebody that you think would love it. Maybe that's your value add. Maybe that's what you do. You share this episode with somebody that you love. All right. I'll see you next time, and make sure that you share, subscribe, do all the things, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the I Dare You podcast. I'm so grateful you chose to spend this time with me, but I'm even more grateful for your future self, that you are building one dare at a time. So my first dare for you is to subscribe to the show, and then share it with a friend who you think needs to step a little bit more outside their comfort zone and into their best lives. They'll thank you for it. I'll see you next time on the I Dare You podcast.